Good day to you, ladies, gentlemen, and people who are better than that. This is my Featherweight fighting robot. This is the widened one, and it did surprisingly well at Battle in the Borough. So I decided to make an even bigger version. This is my Featherweight, the wider one, and this is it in comparison to its Featherweight counterpart. In this video I want to talk about the construction of this Featherweight robot and basically what I've learned, because it's already been in a competition, as you can see by the large gash in the front. The robot was using these drill motors bought from Bristol Butt Builders, coupled onto 1/8 scale radio control car wheels. This provided ample traction and was overall a really good drive solution. It had a lot of speed and it had plenty of traction. The only problem is, I've heard that these plastic gearbox housings tend to break, so I am upgrading to some really old Gimson GR01s, I think they're called, which I bought at the event. Hopefully these will be more reliable, and they're also a lower speed, so I can put bigger wheels on it. We'll get to that later. The batteries fit in here, and although they are very secure, being routed into the bulkhead, with the drill motors they would barely fit in, and actually they were at a slight angle which caused them to bend during a fight. It's not too much of a bend though, so I'm going to assume that it's probably fine. Attempting to plug the battery wires in is like trying to wrangle a snake, if that snake happens to also have a bomb strapped to it. It's a stupid analogy. The battery wires share the same place as the weapon, so it's consistently trying to eat its own wiring. If you can see down there, you can see the weapon belt has been rubbing slightly on the signal wire for the drive ESC. The way the battery wires and the main power wires run through the bulkhead mean that it's a tremendous pain to, 1, plug the battery in, and 2, replace the wires if anything were to go wrong. Not that that would happen, because that would require underspecking the wires like a complete moron, and I'm not a complete moron. I would never do something like that. That would be really silly of me. The weapon weighs 2.5 kilograms, if I remember correctly, although I probably don't remember correctly because I'm secretly 69 frogs in a trench coat, and frogs aren't known for their memory skills. It spins at around 14,000 RPM, and it has around 250 mph tip speed. The weapon spins on a 20mm thick silver steel dead shaft, and it runs on needle roller bearings which are mounted inside the hub. It also has these thrust bearings and a couple of washers and random bullshit that I shoved in there to stop it from hitting the sides of the bulkheads. It has these Hardox 450 forks, which I cut and welded myself, or at least it had 2 of them, and now it has 1, because one of them snapped because I'm shit at welding. 2, 1, activate! Well, that was going well, until it wasn't. The weapon got up to speed nice and quickly, and it delivered a lot of decent hits. I'm very pleased with that. But then I drove into him in a bit of a funny way, and it caused the robot to flip over. And in that fight, these screws weren't here. So the weapon was just grinding on the ground. and that actually drew so much current that all of the wiring in here, going through the bulkheads and into the fuse, and I think even after the fuse as well, was all melted completely. So that's why the robot died at the end. Underspecking the wires like a complete moron, and I'm not a complete moron. I would never do something like that. Replacing all the melted wiring was such a pain, and it took us ages, and we actually almost didn't make it for our next fight. Although I lost the fight, I'm still really pleased with the robot's performance, and I'm also really happy that I got to fight Binky, because Binky is one of my favourite robots, and I even got a part of it, and that makes me really happy. Actually means a lot that I have a bit of Binky now. Because we were super rushed in our repairs, because we had to replace all the wiring after the Binky fight, we didn't have time to sort the invertibility issue before going into our fight against Slice of Life. But we figured it probably wouldn't be an issue, because what are the chances that a horizontal spinner would cause us to flip over? That would be silly. So yeah, it flipped us over. What I think happened was, I mean, I'm not sure about this, but basically, Slice of Life got round to this side of the arm, which is not the side I want opponents on, and got a few good hits, and somehow one of them popped the robot into the air, and then it fell back down into the weapon at a funny angle. And that funny angle somehow flipped us over as we were landing, or something. Not quite sure how it happened, but it sure did happen. We have a few gashes in the front here, a small slot there, and some chunks taken out the weapon. But overall, nothing really too bad. We did also lose a bit of belt tension. We actually had to add a improvised belt tensioner. Anyway, this will get us like one spin up at least. To try and have a little bit more belt tension for our next fight. However, unfortunately that didn't happen because the two other robots had to forfeit due to taking too much damage.